What's going on with y'all, man? We back again with another video, and today we will be talking about my NFL award predictions. Now, I'm going to start this off by saying a lot of these were tough for me to pick simply because there was so much player movement this offseason and there are so many damn talented players and teams in the NFL right now. And also, I'm going to tell you, I'm not trying to pick all pros and everything like that because that's just too difficult to do. You never know what's going to happen with injuries and everything like that. Like, even picking the awards is difficult because, again, you never know what's going to happen with injuries. You never know what's going to happen, right? Especially for these players that are dependent on other positions for a lot of their success, like a running back, like a receiver. You know what I'm saying? It's like you never know what's going to happen. Maybe their quarterback gets injured. Like, a lot of the reason I didn't pick Justin Jefferson, spoiler alert, for Offensive Player of the Year is because, well, first of all, his quarterback was going to be J.J. McCarthy. Well, now he's out for, I think, the whole season. So it's going to be Sam Darnold for at least, I'm pretty sure, the whole season. But if not, it's still going to be a significant period of time, which sucks for him because I probably would have picked him as my Offensive Player of the Year if he still had a good quarterback, but he doesn't. So, praying for you, buddy. I'm not sure he'll be in Minnesota much longer. Anyways, with all that being said, let's talk about my pick for MVP. This might be boring. I'm going to pick Patrick Mahomes to win his third MVP this year, and let me tell you why. I expect the Chiefs to be a top 2 seed in the AFC this year, and they have a very good shot at being the 1 seed. And Mahomes is coming off his worst statistical season as a starter last year. But keep in mind, that being his worst season, it was still a 4,000-plus yard season with nearly 30 touchdowns and a Super Bowl win plus Super Bowl MVP. So that being his last season in and of itself is already insanity. But anyways, we also have to remember that Mahomes' stats would have looked a lot better if his receiver simply could have caught the damn ball. And now going into this year, they short up the real only weakness on that team, especially on the offense, by getting receivers Hollywood Brown in free agency and drafting Xavier Worthy, trading up to get the Bills pick. Again, I don't know how they did that, but anyways, they got to have some blackmail or something. I don't know how they did that, but anyways, to get Xavier Worthy. Not only did you get those two guys as help, but you still have some continuity with guys like Rashee Rice, Pacheco, Kelsey. Those are still guys that are there who Mahomes already has trust in, who Mahomes has already won with twice now. Well, Rashee Rice once, but he's won twice with Pacheco and 3 times with Travis Kelce. He trusts these guys. I get that Travis Kelce started to show some of those signs of regression this year, but he's not going to be relied upon as much now that they have 3 genuine good wide receivers, or at least we expect that those will be 3 genuine good wide receivers. You never know with a rookie like Xavier Worthy, but I'm expecting those guys to be at least 3 solid options. I mean, it can't be worse than what the hell they had last year. So, I mean, and let's keep in mind, the Chiefs' defense will likely be a bit worse with the loss of L'Jarius Sneed, so Mahomes and the offense are going to have to pick up that slack that the defense was picking up for the offense being bad last year. Well, let's not act like Patrick Mahomes isn't capable of doing that. I think you should be looking for potentially Mahomes to have another 5,000-plus yard season this year, which he's already had 2 of in his 6 years as a starter, which is disgusting. And yet another MVP for his trophy case. I think this is his MVP to lose. Not really, because the league is so damn good. Like, if you said Lamar, I wouldn't be mad at you. If you said Jalen Hurts, I wouldn't really be mad at you. If you said there's a lot of guys. If you said Joe Burrow, I wouldn't really be mad at you. Like, there's a lot of guys you could say. If the Bills somehow still win the AFC East, and you said Josh Allen, I wouldn't be mad at you. Like, there's a lot of guys you could say. I'm just going to pick Mahomes. But let's move on to Offensive Player of the Year, where I'm going to pick, we're going to go over to the NFC, and I'm going to pick a Penn State brother by the name of Saquon Barkley. You see that little Penn State white flag back there? Yeah. A little Penn State brother by the name of Saquon Barkley. Now, this might be an unpopular pick because you have guys like Tyreek Hill and Christian McCaffrey who are so damn good at football and put up insane numbers. But you have to remember, this is the first time in his career that Saquon will be running behind one of the best offensive lines in the league, and that's even without Jason Kelce, who retired. And I expect him to thrive in Philly, especially because defenses are still going to have to worry about Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith. And I did think about other guys. Like, no lie, this was super difficult, but I'm going to stick to my pick. It's Saquon. I did think about other guys like Tyreek Hill, like Christian McCaffrey, some guys like that. But I'm going to stick with my pick. I even thought about CeeDee Lamb, but we don't know if he's going to end up missing games because of the contract dispute and everything like that. But I'm going to stick by my pick in Saquon. Let's move on to Defensive Player of the Year, where I'm picking another Penn State guy. I'm going to pick Micah Parsons. Because this one was also tough, because there's guys like TJ Watt, Nick Bosa, Aiden Hutchinson, all those guys who I think have a great shot at winning this award, and I literally just forgot about Myles Garrett, who also has a great shot at winning this award. Those are all dominant edge rushers at a similar position to Micah Parsons. But I think we all know that Micah Parsons is bound to win a Defensive Player of the Year at some point in his career, and with the Cowboys just being worse this year, he will have more to do. He will have to do more to carry this Cowboys defense and just carry the Cowboys team in general, which I believe he can do, and I believe that the fact that he has to carry those things will inflate his stats, which will be crucial en route to him winning his first ever Defensive Player of the Year. Moving on to Coach of the Year, I'm going to pick the Detroit Lions coach Dan Campbell. I know some people are picking other guys. Like I've seen some Matt Eberflus love. I've seen a lot of love from different guys. I've even seen some Matt LaFleur. I've seen there's a lot of good coaches in the NFL right now, and there's a lot of great teams, so I'm not mad at you for picking, there's a good 8 coaches you could pick here, and I'm not going to be mad at you, but I'm going to pick Dan Campbell because this team already won 12 games last year, and we damn near saw Dan Campbell win this award last year, and if you ask me, the team only got better. I thought about Andy Reid, Nick Sirianni, John Harbaugh, a ton of others, Matt Eberflus even, a ton of others for this award, even Dave Canales if he can do something in Carolina. Like if he can make that team 7 wins, I think that's because considering the roster, if he can get that team to 7-8 wins, I think he has an outside chance at it. I think there are a lot of guys who have a chance at this award, honestly, but I'm gonna stick with my pick because I like it, honestly, and the Lions have a very good shot at finishing as the 1 seed in the NFC. And if they do that, bro, you will have to think about the turnaround of the Lions. Now, granted, if the Bears make the playoffs or something, I would see some Matt Eberflus love, but you would also have to think maybe that's more Caleb Williams than Matt Eberflus, but you can't give all the credit to a rookie QB. The same way that, you know what I'm saying, DeMeco Ryans almost won Coach of the Year last year. He was one of those top 3 guys for Coach of the Year last year. It's just that Kevin Stefanski won because he had 5 quarterbacks start, and they still made the playoffs, which I would have voted for him if I had to vote too, so I'm not mad at it. But, yeah. I'm just not sure about Matt Eberflus, and I also don't think the Bears are going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to be just outside of the playoffs, which is good. I don't think it's going to be good enough for him to win Coach of the Year. But for Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to take Caleb Williams. This one is going to be the least that I talk about because I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. He's in a great situation. He's looked very good in the preseason. I know it's the preseason, but still, I don't think anyone's going to be too mad at this one, even though I definitely very well could see other guys winning. I'm going to give it to Caleb Williams. He's projected to be a generational talent. He's looked very good in the preseason, and he's in a phenomenal – it's not like this is one of those years where you got the first overall pick and your team's terrible. They got the first overall pick because of a trade with the Panthers, and their team has a lot of good pieces, and they got better in the offseason. So I'm going to pick Caleb Williams, and I think that's a pretty safe bet. If I looked at the odds, I'd be willing to say he has a very – big gap on the rest of the competition for this award for Offensive Rookie of the Year. But continuing on with rookies for Defensive Rookie of the Year, this one was tough simply because the top of this draft was mostly offensive players, and I'm not super high on a lot of these guys defensively that were in this draft. But I'm going to pick another Lion in Terrion Arnold, and I believe Terrion Arnold is a very good, very physical corner. He's going to be a guy that can tackle. He's going to be a guy that can play the ball. He's going to be a guy that might have some penalties, might have some of those moments where he costs you, but he's going to have more good moments than bad if I had to guess. And defensive back was really the only weakness for the Lions last year. And if he can come in and he can really shore that up and be like their corner 1 and have a good rookie year, and that secondary can be one of the top 10 in the league, especially with him leading in that position, I believe he will have done enough to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, even if his stats aren't great, in large part because I'm not super high on many of these defensive rookies, like I said. But another guy to look out for here is another guy that's in the NFC North, in Dallas Turner. I'm a big fan of his, and I think he should have gone earlier in the draft. I still believe the Falcons should have picked him, but what do I know? I thought about Byron Murphy, the Texas D-tackle who went to the Seahawks. I thought about him, but I don't know about, I'm just not sure that a D-tackle is going to win it. He would have to have a crazy amount of, tackles for loss and sacks and everything like that, and I don't think the Seahawks are really built like that to get him to where he can get those numbers. So I didn't really think about him too much. And Latu, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but the Colts edge rusher, I'm not super big on him either. I don't think he's – I don't know. I don't know enough about him, to be honest. It's not that I'm not super big on him. I just don't know enough about him, so I'm not going to pick him. But, yeah, I'm going to stick with Terrion Arnold. And last but not least, I'm going to pick Comeback Player of the Year here to be Aaron Rodgers. I thought about Nick Chubb, and there are other guys that I'm sure I'm missing, not that I'm forgetting about that I could think about, but I'm going to pick Aaron Rodgers. And the second guy I thought about, the first initial guy I thought about was Nick Chubb, just because that was the first injured guy that came to mind. And obviously it doesn't have to be an injured guy. Like last year, Joe Flacco almost won it, and because he came off his couch and played amazingly well, and I would have given it to him, but DeMar Hamlin literally died or almost died, so I'm not mad at it. But I'm going to pick Aaron Rodgers. I think it's far more likely that Rodgers looks like himself more than Chubb looks like himself, especially because Chubb is a running back and he's coming off of a gruesome injury. I get Rodgers is 40 years old. Chloe, you beast. I get Rodgers is 40 years old, but he's not like a super mobile quarterback. It's not like he's Lamar Jackson coming off of an Achilles tear. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Nick Chubb is a running back. And also, Rodgers is also a QB, which means if the Jets do well, he's going to get most of the credit, and I expect the Jets to do well. I picked them to win the division, which y'all saw in yesterday's video, which y'all saw in Wednesday's video? I think it was Wednesday's video, which y'all saw in Wednesday's video. And I think it will look even better for Rodgers considering how bad the Jets looked last year without him, whereas Nick Chubb's team still made the playoffs without him, which is not at all a diss to him. I'm just saying I feel like that's how the voters might think about it, and I also think Aaron Rodgers is a guy that, like, he's won 4 MVPs, you know what I'm saying? So obviously the voters don't have any hate towards him or anything like that. The voters are going to be thinking about him, and it's like the Jets are such a desperate franchise where if they can even make a wild card spot after being so bad last year and Rodgers can put up good numbers, I think it'll go to Rodgers unless Nick Chubb literally comes out and looks just like he did before injury, in which case that would be one of the most impressive things I've ever seen, and then it would go to him with ease, I believe. But yeah, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. We're going to do my NBA version of this tomorrow, which is Saturday for y'all. As I record this, it's Wednesday. But for y'all, you'll be seeing the NBA version of this video on Saturday. So hope y'all like this one, man. And like I said, I told y'all we're going to be getting that NFL content because I'm excited for the NFL season to start. So yeah, love y'all. Appreciate you. Thank you for watching. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you made it this far. All right. Love y'all.